Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm a self-portrait photographer, and I am going to show you how I edit one of my self-portraits. I will be editing in Adobe Photoshop Lightroom, and I'll show you all the steps I take. So first off, let me show you what it will look like. So here is basically the before and after. So this photo on the right is the before photo. It's the raw photo that came, right out of the camera. And for reference, I'm shooting with a Canon 5D Mark IV, and I was using a 50mm lens and completely natural lighting. I do have a behind the scenes video for this as part of a course I created. So if you wanted to see the whole process behind this photo, you can check out that course, which is linked down below. So here we go. This is the reference photo for the after. And the first thing I did for this photo is I made it black and white. I love a good black and white photo. So I just made that black and white over here. And then you can see that the highlights are a little bit brought down. So highlights are down for the whole photo, down to, let's say, around here. And I also brought the blacks down to about, oops, too far, around here. So those are the first steps I take. Usually when I'm editing a photo, I'll just do sort of basic lighting stuff. And we'll see. Another thing I did to get to the after version of this photo is actually I won't do that yet. I play with the curves a little bit, but the first thing I actually did was create a few masks. And I used 4 masks, I think, to get to the after photo. And I used radial gradient. So the first thing I do is create this radial gradient over here. Kind of like this. So as you can see, the lighting is coming from the right of the photo. I'm facing a window. So any sort of edits I'm making, I'm having it match that lighting source. So I wanted to do this, create a more shadowed look with more of a sort of spotlight on my face. So I had to, darken the rest of the photo while keeping the light on my face. And so I'm working with where my light source is. So for this radial gradient, I want to invert it to keep this part of the photo unchanged. And I actually want to bring down the exposure around it while keeping it clear where the light source actually is coming from. So just sort of playing with what this looks like. So that I think that's okay for now. I might have brought the blacks down a little bit. We'll see. And then I add another radial gradient. And I want to essentially just bring down all of these areas that are, brighter than what I want them to be. I did initially edit this photo with a linear gradient, but I found that it made the blacks sort of stand out too much when I was posting, when I was looking at the photo on a screen. Obviously, most of my photos will be looked at on screens, so I want more of a subtle kind of darkness or a shadow look. So with all of these radial gradients, I'm really just bringing the exposure down a little bit. And just making it darker, really. And then another radial gradient over here. Oops. And just rotating it to really how I want the shadow to look. So you can see that we're starting to get closer to, you know, the after image with the shadows. So I think that is actually maybe okay for now. I don't want the shadow to come in too harshly over here, because, you know, there is light. There would be that sort of, you know, natural fall off of light. So I want to keep that in mind when I'm editing. And I'm actually okay with that for now. And then, so the next thing I would do now that I have sort of everything in place where I want it is to play with the curves and to apply the curve to everything that, you know, all of the layers, all of the masks that have been applied so far. So I'm really trying to get this, you know, this more matte look that we have in the after photo on the left. So I want to raise this, you know, far left point on the curves, which is the line for the blacks. I want to raise that a little bit and give it a little curve just over here. And there we go. That's essentially the photo, everything that was involved in creating this photo. It does look a little bit different to me. I think there's maybe a little more highlight on my face. And I think maybe over here is a little bit darker. Oops. And so the after image, you can tell that it looks a little bit more matte at the moment. So I'm just taking this version or this radial gradient so I can, you know, affect the rest of the photo without affecting this part of the photo. And I'm just playing with the blacks here until I feel like the matte tone matches in both before and after. And, you know, if you were just editing the photo for the first time, you wouldn't have this reference photo, but, you know, just playing with it until you get the look that you want. And I'm also just going to bring down exposure a little bit more, just a little bit darker. And there we go. I think I am pretty happy with that. So that is the before and after look. And let me just create a virtual copy here and reset it. So you can see really how it changed from before and after. So that is just a super simple process for editing. I think it has a high impact for, you know, what the image looks like after. I think it's definitely more impactful image. And I think you can really see just what you can do with a few a few changes in post. So I hope that you like this editing video. I will probably be posting more of my self-portraits, of editing my self-portraits. And you can find out more about my course on self-portraits down below.